Hi, and welcome to a motorcycle footwear guide. In this section, we are looking at the safety features of motorcycle boots. So in Canada, there are no regulations for protective motorcycle footwear to be sold as such. So I could make you a motorcycle boot, sell it to you as protective equipment, and nobody is going to regulate that. But in Europe, it is a different case. They do require the European norm ratings. It's the EN 13634 rating that we care about here. That pertains to motorcycle boots. Sometimes you'll see it called CE rated, and for our purposes, that essentially means the same thing. It means that for the boot you buy, there will have been an equivalent boot that was tested in a laboratory for a certain level of crash protection, impact resistance, impact absorption, abrasion resistance, all that stuff. So EN ratings and CE ratings are good, but of course it is a bit of an issue because if a manufacturer only makes boots and sells them in Canada or the States, they don't have to get those European ratings, so they may often not bother. So for a lot of boots on our website, you'll notice that they aren't CE rated. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're unsafe. It may just mean that that manufacturer doesn't bother selling that boot in Europe. So what we really recommend is knowing which safety features to look for. So you can read our product descriptions on the product page, and from there you're going to be able to tell how safe that boot's going to be without blindly following some CE rating. So safety features to look for. Right off the bat, we can talk about abrasion resistance. So leathers are really, really good. Full grain or top grain leathers are going to be the best. Split grain leather is not good for fall, so you want to avoid split grain. You're also, of course, going to want to avoid suede. Suede is not really a leather, and it's going to be absolutely useless if you go down in a crash. But full grain and top grain leathers are going to be your best bet there. In terms of textiles, textiles are more breathable, they're more waterproof, they're more lightweight than leather, so they're good in that regard. They are not going to give you as much abrasion resistance, but I'm going to say it's not a huge deal with boots, because boots, as opposed to jackets or pants, boots can be quite a bit thicker, they can be quite a bit more rigid. So in that sense, companies can use more of the textiles and get more abrasion resistance from them. So it's not a huge issue. I wouldn't really be concerned in choosing a textile motorcycle boot in terms of abrasion resistance. What I would pay more attention to though is the seams. You're going to want double or triple stitching on any boot that you buy, because even if you have really good abrasion resistance in the material itself, that's going to be useless, of course, if the seams come apart in a crash and those panels start coming apart and exposing your foot to the slide. So you're going to want to look for those double or triple stitched seams. Armor in motorcycle boots is also really important. You're going to look for it on the toe, on the heel, you're going to look for it on the ankle, and of course in higher length boots, you're going to get shin armor as well sometimes. Those are good things to look for in terms of safety. Also rigidity in the entire upper. A lot of boots will have an exoskeleton, and that's going to prevent the boot from crushing under the weight of a motorcycle. They may also have a hinge mechanism around the ankle that limits the range of movement. So that's really good because, if it gets to a point where your ankle is looking at being overextended to a point of maybe even breaking, a hinge mechanism like this is going to prevent that and keep you safe. The soles are also a really big safety feature in terms of motorcycle boots because they're often slip resistant, especially on oily surfaces, like every public road known to mankind. So when you pull up to a traffic light and put your foot down, with a slip-resistant sole, you're not going to be falling over. The laces play a similar function, or rather lack thereof. So in a motorcycle boot, you're going to look for a boot with a zipper or something that has laces, but where the laces can be strapped down with Velcro or hidden under some flap or something like that. That's really important because if you pull up to a traffic light and you have exposed laces, they can get caught on your motorcycle. So you go to put a foot down, your foot can't come off the bike, you fall over, and that's not good. So a boot that has a zipper or something like that, it's going to save you some skin, it's going to save your motorcycle, it's going to save a bit of your ego as well. The last thing I'm going to mention is heat resistance. It's really important because, of course, your boot is going to be next to the engine block, it's going to be next to the exhaust pipe, hot things like that. And if you go down in a crash, friction heat is always an issue. So you're going to want heat-resistant materials throughout the boot as well. Kevlar and aramidec fibers are generally the best for this. Leather and rubber are pretty good as well. Textiles like nylon, not as good, but still going to be okay. A purpose-built motorcycle boot is always going to be better than what you're going to be seeing from something like a walking shoe generally. So there's going to be some safety features to look for with regards to motorcycle boots. We go over even more stuff about how to choose the right footwear in this guide coming up. But for this part, thank you very much for watching.